Wings of Fire, Book 6, Moon Rising, by Tura T. Sutherland. Read for you by Layla. Prologue. 4 years ago. The volcano was restless, and so were the dragons in the Nightwing Fortress. Secret Keeper felt the mountain rumble under her talons as she hurried through the stone halls. There were too many dragons awake, too many witnesses who might wonder where she was going in the middle of the night. She kept her head down, but she felt the curious look sliding under her scales with each dragon she passed. How many of them knew what tonight would have been? Did anyone remember? She didn't need to count the days to know. Her bones ached with knowing. It was like a voice in her head screaming, "Tonight! It's hatching! Hurry! Don't get caught! Hurry!" Because if it happened while she wasn't there, she imagined hungry panthers prowling in the undergrowth, dangerous crocodiles with gleaming teeth, or unpredictable, curious dragons who might do anything with a mysterious abandoned egg. But she couldn't run, not with other Nightwings still awake and watching her. Why tonight of all nights? Usually everyone in the tribe slept like sloths, from dusk till dawn. Just before she reached the ledge, she passed Mastermind and Farsight. Mastermind gave her a hard stare. He knows, she thought with a stab of panic, but it was Farsight who stopped and spoke to her. "Oh, Secret Keeper, poor dear," she said, folding her wings. Secret Keeper winced. Her name had never sounded more appropriate. Sometimes she wondered if her name had made her this way, if she was unconsciously trying to live up to it with the biggest, most unforgivable secret a Nightwing could have. "The egg you lost was due to hatch tonight, wasn't it? Are you all right?" Farsight went on. "Do you want someone to sit with you?" "No." Secret Keeper curled in her claws and shook her head. "I'm fine," she said. "Just going to get some air." "Do you want company?" Farsight asked. Because behind her, Mastermind frowned irritably. "I know it's not the same, but when Morseer took my egg, Secret Keeper could only think of one way to stop her, and it was harsh, but she had to. Because she had to go right now." "It's not the same at all," she snapped, shooting a burst of flame out of her nose. "You two have 2 surviving dragonettes, and one of them is off on the continent being pampered, overfed, and worshipped by the talons of peace. So don't try to act like you understand me." Farsight recoiled as if Secret Keeper had bitten her. Mastermind looked startled, perhaps a bit impressed, maybe a little suspicious. Secret Keeper whirled and fled up the corridor before either of them could say anything else. "I'll apologize tomorrow. She'll forgive me. Farsight is like that." She took a running leap off the ledge and soared down toward the black sand beach. Behind her the volcano rumbled again. The dark clouds overhead glowed with an ominous red light. The air was heavy and suffocating, smelling of death and rotten eggs and burning rocks. Secret Keeper swooped low over the red gold lava river, the brightest spot on the island, and veered toward the cave. Only one guard tonight. Nobody really believed any of the rainforest dragons would find their secret tunnel. The guards were often asleep when she came, and Secret Keeper had frequently been able to sneak past without waking them. But not tonight. Prey Hunter was sitting on the ledge overlooking the beach, watching the volcano and fidgeting nervously. "Do you think it'll be tonight?" he asked her as she landed beside him. It took her a frightening, disoriented moment to realize he hadn't guessed her secret. He probably didn't even know or remember that she'd lost her egg. She was only one of the many dragons who had in the last few years, after all. He was talking about the volcano. "No," Secret Keeper said, looking back at the hulking shape that loomed over all their lives. "It can't be. Mastermind said we still have more time before it erupts." Prey Hunter snorted. "Right, and I'll remember why we trust him any minute now." She knew what he meant. If Mastermind was wrong, well, that was why she'd made her choice, wasn't it? That was the whole reason for her dangerous secret. "Where are you going at this hour?" Prey Hunter said, eyeing her up and down. "Shouldn't you have backup for night hunting?" "I'll be all right," Secret Keeper said. "I just can't sleep, and I thought maybe I'd bring a sloth or boar for greatness to give the queen." "Ah," Prey Hunter nodded slyly. "Keeping the queen happy, always a good idea. Right, see you soon then." Secret Keeper edged past him, her heart pounding. She bolted through the cave and into the tunnel that led to the rainforest. "Hurry, hurry, it's happening now. You have to be there." She fell through into the clearest, most brightly lit night she'd ever seen in the rainforest. The worst luck. She'd have to hope that no rainwings were out for a moonlit stroll tonight. Even though the thick canopy of the treetops overhead, she could still see that 2 of the moons were full, just like they were the night I left her here. Secret Keeper stopped. Her heart seemed to be doing some kind of painful aerial loops in her chest. Suddenly she knew. She was certain. It would be female. She flew through the trees, following a small sign she'd left for herself. There wasn't time to travel quietly and cautiously. If a rainwing heard and followed her, well, it wouldn't be a good night for that rainwing. Plunging down towards the fallen tree, the artful pile of leaves, the curving ferns. Finally she was here. Finally her egg was gone. Secret Keeper scrabbled frantically in the dark hollow. It couldn't be. It couldn't be gone. One black egg in the darkest hiding place in this gigantic rainforest. Who could have found it? Where did they take it? I should have kept her with me. I shouldn't have lied to my tribe. I only wanted to protect her from that island, from the smoke and the smell and the rules and the misery, and from the constant fear that the earth will swallow us in fire at any moment. And now she's gone. This is my punishment for deceiving everyone. She whirled around hissing, and her eye caught on something. Not far away was a clearing where the moons broke through the trees and illuminated the forest floor. In the center of the moonbeams was her egg. At least, it had to be her egg, but it wasn't black anymore. The last time she'd been able to sneak out and check on it, 3 days ago, it had been ebony black like every nightwing egg. Now it was an eerie silver color, as polished and glimmering as if a piece of full moon had fallen from the sky. Secret Keeper approached it warily. Was this a trick? Was someone watching, waiting to catch her? Mastermind? Greatness? Or was there something wrong with her egg? 5 starburst-shaped cracks already marked the smooth curve of the silver shell. Secret Keeper circled it, inhaling the scents around it. How did it roll over here? Why did it change color? There were no clues in the mossy hollow where the egg lay now, bathed in moonlight. The egg rocked suddenly, and a long crack splintered on top of it. Secret Keeper felt a burst of panic. Was she supposed to help it somehow? Should she crack the egg herself? Or try to keep the egg warm? She'd never seen a hatching before. There were so few hatchings on the Nightwing Island, and hardly anyone was allowed to attend them, in fear of contaminating the precious new dragonettes. If she hadn't lied to everyone about having stomach cramps during a hunt in the rainforest, about the egg coming out cracked, and about burying the pieces alone, if she'd had her egg on the island, then she probably would have gotten to see an hatching in the last year. There had only been one, a dragonette called Mighty Claws. An expecting dragon would have been welcome to see how a hatching worked, but not a dragon who'd lost an egg. There were several dragons on the island whose eggs cracked before they hatched. It was considered a kindness to keep them apart from the healthy eggs of dragonettes. So Secret Keeper had no idea what to do. She'd never heard of an egg turning silver. Had she done something wrong when she laid the egg all alone? Had she hidden it in a place that was bad for it? Maybe she was supposed to be turning it every night, or something like that. She had already ruined the dragonette's life before it even hatched, possibly. And what would happen now? What if her dragonette was broken? After all the lying and worrying, she wasn't sure if she could survive if there was something wrong. I will love her anyway, she thought fiercely, hoping all of that was true. Secret Keeper brushed away her tears, trying to focus. No matter what, there was a living dragonette in that egg trying to get out. She crouched and gently wrapped her talons around the eggshell. The shell instantly splintered into 2,000 pieces, showering the ground with glittering shards. Sitting in between Secret Keeper's claws, blinking, was a tiny black dragonette. "Oh!" Secret Keeper gasped. The dragonette looked up at her mother's head and wings towering over her. She squeaked once softly and then stood up and shook herself, unfurling her own small wings. Secret Keeper stared at her in awe. She was perfect in every way. Her scales gleamed as though they had just been polished. Her claws were miniature curved crescents. Her tail was the most perfect tail Secret Keeper had ever seen. She already looked healthier than every Nightwing Secret Keeper knew, and that was enough. That was exactly why Secret Keeper had risked so much. She wished she could share this moment with the dragonette's father, but he couldn't be trusted. He would almost certainly tell the tribe and insist she be raised on the island. If that meant he would never learn he had a daughter, then too bad. The dragonette tilted her head back to stare up at the 2 full moons. The silvery light reflected in her eyes, and Secret Keeper realized that there was one odd thing about her. A silver scale shone on the outside corner of each eye, a teardrop about to fall. Odd, but beautiful. Her small talons reached towards the moons, as if she wanted to pull them out of the sky and roll them around. Secret Keeper picked her up, feeling large and unwieldy with something so small and delicate. She lifted the dragonette up to see the moons and then brought her in close, cuddling her to her chest. "I'm your mother, little one," she whispered. "I'm going to call you Moon Watcher." you're going to have the happiest life any dragon has ever had. You're going to live forever and ever, and the volcano will never have you. Moonwatcher squeaked again and leaned into her mother's warmth. Secret Keeper let go of the worrying and the guilt. She stopped thinking about what happened or what was going to happen. She was right where she needed to be. A long, quiet time passed, and then, "Secret Keeper!" a voice bellowed from the treetops. Secret Keeper jolted awake. Her dragonet was curled in the curve of her wing, sleeping soundly. They were both brightly lit by the full moons overhead. And then someone was shouting her name through the rainforest. "Prey Hunter," she thought. What if the Rainwings heard him? Then she came fully awake and realized what would happen if he found her like this, with a secret Nightwing dragonet. Moonwatcher would be taken straight to the island, and Secret Keeper would be punished for lying about her. She wasn't sure how, but she knew anything that involves being separated from Moonwatcher would be unbearable. "Moonwatcher," she whispered urgently. The dragonet opened her sleepy eyes. "We have to hide you." "Ark," her daughter answered. "Come back here." Secret Keeper scooped her up and hurried back into the darker shadows of the forest. Moonwatcher squeaked sadly and reached for the moonlight again. "No, you can't go out there. You have to stay hidden. Do you understand? You must not let any dragon find you except Mommy." Secret Keeper couched behind her hollow, where the fallen log and thick ferns created a hidden space. She tucked Moonwatcher into the shadows and started pulling foliage over her to conceal her. "Erk?" Moonwatcher asked. She reached out and caught one of her mother's claws in her small front talons. "Ark?" "No, I can't stay," Secret Keeper said. "I'm sorry. You'll be safer if I go." Terrifying images flashed through her head. Nightwing hunters finding Moonwatcher by accident, or Rainwing stumbling on her and taking her back to their own village. She mustn't be seen by any other dragons. What had Secret Keeper been thinking? Hiding an egg was one thing. Hiding a dragonet who could move and squeak and call for help was quite another. How could Moonwatcher possibly understand anything like this? "I'll be back as soon as I can," Secret Keeper promised. Please don't leave the spot until I come, all right?" She realized that Moonwatcher was staring intently in her eyes, almost as if she was reading the images flashing through her mother's mind. "Is it possible? The scrolls say Nightwings once had mind-reading powers, but I thought it was just a lie we tell the rest of the tribe so they'll fear us. If it was ever true, it certainly hasn't been for the last several generations." Still, there was something about the way Moonwatcher was looking at her. Not quite knowing what she had been doing, Secret Keeper put her front talons gently on either side of Moonwatcher's head and whispered, "Stay secret, stay hidden, stay safe." She thought as hard as she could about the dragonet's dangers of the rainforest, and especially the dangers of other dragons. She pictured Moonwatcher curling under the ferns and not moving until her mother returned. Moonwatcher blinked and then nodded. Slowly, she backed into the hollow and scratched leaves around herself. "Secret Keeper!" Prey Hunter shouted again. He sounded chillingly close. "See you soon, little one," Secret Keeper whispered. Her claws wanted to clutch the earth and stay right here with her dragonet and never leave. It was harder than anything she had ever done before, but she made herself turn and fly off into the trees. The tears came, and she let them. Perhaps if he saw her crying, Prey Hunter would be too embarrassed to grill her about where she'd been for so long and why she was coming back with no prey. Her wing beats faded into the darkness, replaced by the chirping of crickets, the scurrying of lizards, and the stranger, more unidentifiable noises of the rainforest at night. Somewhere, not too far away, a jaguar roared. Several moments passed. "Ark?" said a small voice from the fern hollow. Nobody answered her. "Ark?" she said again softly. She was alone, with the shadows firmly wrapped around her and no company except the frightening pictures of her mother that had left trailing in her mind. 2 hours old, and she already knew so far was that the world was a dangerous, terrifying place without her mother. "Ark?" Moonwatcher tried again. Rainforest noises, the small drip drop of rain starting to fall, a long pause, and then barely whisper, "Mommy?"